you have a hat on, please take your hat off.
Hats off, guys.
We're being joined today by inspiring singer-songwriter and producer who hopes to one day tour the world and film and producing her own music. She knows she has big goals for herself and hopes to through her hard work and determination to bring to become reality. Please welcome Olivia Evelyn. Speaker today. Thank you, Olivia, for that beautiful rendition of the national anthem. That was wonderful. Our first speaker today is a spiritual leader in our nation. Back in May, he was arrested on the west steps of the Capitol building in Sacramento, simply for preaching the Word of God. And speaking out in protest against the shutdown of our state. His own church has never closed at the date. He's one of the few pastors in our state that defy the government's draconian mandates by fully opening his church with no masks, no social distancing, and full children's ministry. Please give it up for Pastor Tim Thompson.
Hey, I want you guys to know something.
I was like,
that in the Word of God, it actually talks about what's happening in our nation right now. You know that God actually said there would come a point in time where He does a work of separation. He would separate out the people of darkness from the people of light. He would separate out the true believers from the false believers. And I'll tell you, what we're seeing right now is something that the news media wants to tell you is polarization. I'll tell you what it is. It's God. God's doing a supernatural work of separating us out. I want to show you something as you look around this place. Look how much energy there is here. Look how much light there is here. Look how much forward motion there is here. I'll tell you, on the Biden side of things, he ain't got nothing. He has zero energy. He's got people standing in circles, separated out like a bunch of weenies. It's unbelievable. But I'll tell you what, the reason there's so much energy on the side of Donald J. Trump is because he is on the side of light, not on the side of darkness. He is on the side of truth and righteousness, and Biden is on the side of pedophilia and lies. The man is disgusting and belongs in jail. He has no business running for president of the United States. And somebody needs to find his son and put him in jail too. Years ago, when Donald Trump started running for the first time, he made several promises, and he's kept every single one of them. That is why we're here today, because we know that we're getting behind a person who will stand for his word and do what he says. As a pastor, I got to tell you, one of the things that I love that he has done is he did away with a thing called the Johnson Amendment. For those of you that don't know what that is, the Johnson Amendment made it so that way pastors and spiritual leaders in your community weren't allowed to talk about political issues. But here's the problem with that. The radical left has politicized every single biblical moral issue you can think of. They politicize life, they politicize marriage, they politicize sexuality, they politicize gender, they politicize borders, they politicized everything. And so weak pastors have hid behind the Johnson Amendment and said, well, I'm not going to talk about those issues. That's politics. I don't get involved in politics. And here's what happens when spiritual leaders don't engage in the political arena. We end up with the times we're living in right now. But what Donald J. Trump did when he got into office is he did exactly what he said he would do. He would nullify the Johnson Amendment to empower pastors to be able to do what I'm doing today without fear of losing their church. Now I gotta tell you, if you are going to a church and it is still closed and your pastor has no intention of opening the church, find another church. If you're here today and you are a pastor, and you still can't see that this is an attack on the Judeo-Christian way of life, it's an attack on a biblical worldview. If you can't see that this is an attack on the bride of Christ, find another job. You have no business leading people spiritually. Step aside and let real men do it. We're at a time right now where people have to choose between the darkness and the light. We put it into two different names, Biden and Trump. I think every single person here is making the right choice. We got just a couple days left until we see a great victory. And I'll tell you this, just as a spiritual leader, it ain't going to be over November 3rd. Prepare yourself. Be prepared. We need to continue to stand for righteousness, stand for the side of light, because now is the time where we're going to see incredible things happening as God continues to separate out the true believers, the false believers, the people of darkness and the people of light. God is showing himself true, and God is going to do incredible things in your life and through your life if you will just let him. So please, just submit yourself to the one true living God. Thank you so much. I love you guys.
Introduce our next speaker. Big hand for Tim Thompson. What a leader, what an inspiration, what a man. Before I introduce our next speaker, I want to let you know of another big event that's happening tomorrow. We're going to have a Trump car rally. It's going to start in San Clemente on El Camino Real, all the way to the southern end of El Camino Real in front of the Carl Jr. there. There's a curve that goes on for miles. We're going to be lined up there. We're going to kick off from that curve and go all the way to San Diego, to Midway, USS Midway, and then come back home. We're going to take some pictures down in San Diego. Right. If you get there between 10 and 10:30, we're going to depart at 11 o'clock for San Diego. Our next speaker has an incredible story. Her family escaped the Vietnamese communist regime, stowed away in the bowels of the Vietnamese fishing boat. Stowed away in the bowels of the Vietnamese fishing boat. Her family of 2 adults and 4 children were at sea for several days when they ran out of fresh drinking water. Fortunately, their prayers were answered when his German oil tanker found his wrist and rendered assistance. She has taken a journey from being a refugee to a proud American citizen. She is a former California congressional candidate and elected OCGF Central Committee member. Affiliated to the California Republican Party, a small business owner, a mother with three sweet, amazing, active boys and apologized to a supportive husband. Phan West.
Really appreciate introduction. So as you guys know, from refugee to proud American citizen, I'm Amy Phan West. I understand what to push for socialism and communism is. I experienced it myself. What happened when the communist regime came down from the north of Vietnam taking the south? They say, you know what, give us whatever you farm, whatever you fish, half of it, and then we'll take care of you. That's what they promise. And when the people are starving in my village, they say, you know what, we're hungry. And so you know what the communists did? They marched them out in front of everyone, and then they dig a hole and bury them alive. So half of my family are either buried alive, getting shot at. That's what communism is, guys. The push right now for socialism, which will lead to communism. We do not want that in America. We do not want that for our children and our grandchildren. This is the time that you must stand up and rise up and defend the liberty that we have here. Now, this is the thing, guys. We escaped Vietnam. Before my dad left, we were Buddhism and ancestor worshiper, okay? We didn't know about this God. But before my dad left, he had this dream of this man in white coming to him saying, you must leave Vietnam and believe in me. And so my dad told my mom and say, we must leave Vietnam. If we don't, we will die in the hands of the communist regime. But if at least we leave, we would die as free men and women in the sea. And so my dad took my mom. She's 8 months pregnant with my younger sister, my older sister, myself, and my two twin younger brother in the fishing boat. His fishing boat, small fishing boat. We're supposed to meet up with the bigger fishing boat. But you know what? Whatever food supply, water we got, that's what we got with us. And in 3 days, we ran out of fresh water. But thank God, the German oil tanker took us in, gave us food and water, and sent us over to Thailand refugee camp. And there, we were there for a year and a half. And then they sent us over to the Philippines. And when you guys remember the AOC and Amar talking about our border, where it's a dump and it's a junk down there, I want to correct her. She's wrong. I experienced communism, refugee camp, what it's like. I was sleeping on dirt ground, okay? For her to say the border we were so bad, we're American, we're so bad, we treat them so badly. They have hot shower. They have a bed to sleep in. They have diapers for children. They have, you know what, food. We don't have that in the refugee camp. We were starving. They were fighting. They were killing each other to survive, to get fresh water and food. Okay? And the thing is that, guys, those who come here illegally at the border, they can leave if they want to. But we cannot. If we leave the Thailand refugee camp and go back to Vietnam, we'll be slaughtered and killed. So this land is great. For those of you who say this nation is so bad, America is so bad, let me correct you and ask you this question. If America is so bad, why do you have the freedom of speech? Why? Why do you have the freedom of speech to speak your mind without being persecuted, being killed, being slaughtered, being murdered? You have that right here in America. And why do you have the freedom to bear arms to defend yourself and your family if you desire to? America is great. So please correct your ideology if you think that way. America is so bad. If America is so bad, I'll be the first to buy the one-way ticket to whatever country you want. Okay? And you can experience it. The problem is those who make that statement, they never traveled before. They don't understand the hardship in other countries. Look at Venezuela. I think, sorry, I'm back. So look at Venezuela, the push for socialism. The people are picking food out of the trash can, guys, to survive. Look at the communist regime, China, Vietnam, dictatorship, North Korea. They don't have the freedom to even buy Christmas tree or talk about or listen to hip hop, listen to American music. They can't. They can't do that. So we have the freedom here. We must fight and preserve it. If we don't, we will lose it. I lost Vietnam, okay? We lost our country. We lost our home. This is our second home. Land of the free, home of the brave. We must fight it to defend it with all we got. Like the pastor said earlier, this is the beginning, guys. We're not gonna let our nation go down like this. Our forefathers fought with their lives, guys. At least we're not fighting with our lives. We might fight with our job, relocation, or whatever. But listen, guys, our forefather has the courage to stand up and the boldness to do so. This is our generation. This is our time. We must speak up. This is a time we need men and women of courage to stand. You guys are that. You guys go pioneer the next generation to freedom and liberty. Let's do this. Who's with me? God bless you and God bless the USA.
What a great story. USA, 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 USA. What a great story, Amy. Thank you so much, Amy. Our next speaker served our nation for 30 years in the United States Marine Corps. He is a highly decorated fighter pilot of Operation Desert Storm, Operation Southern Watch, and Operation Restore Hope. He was an FA-18 Hornet Fighter Squadron commanding officer aboard the USS Abraham Lincoln and served as Chief of Staff for the White House Military Office. He is currently running to represent California's 45th Congressional District. Please give it up for Greg Raths.
Huntington Beach! How we doing? Are we a bunch of Trump chumps? Come on! Do we have the right to bear arms? Do we love President Trump? I fought for 30 years for this country as a U.S. Marine, retired as a colonel. I threw in 3 combat operations, most notable Desert Storm, 75 combat missions in the F-18 Hornet. I fought for this country, and I'm ready to go to Washington to fight for you one more time. We got to get rid of these liberals. We got to get rid of these leftists. This country is made of freedom and liberty, and we can never, ever lose our liberty. I am Greg Raths, running in the 45th Congressional District to take out a woman that is further left than Elizabeth Warren and Katie Porter. She needs to go. If you live in these cities, or if you know anybody that lives in these cities, Irvine, Mission Viejo, Laguna Hills, Laguna Woods, Tustin, Lake Forest, Rancho Santa Margarita, parts of Orange, Anaheim Hills. I need your vote. North Tustin, the Republicans are lagging behind right now. Get your vote in. Greg Raths for Congress. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Greg. That's a hero right there, and we like to vote for heroes. And our next speaker, not only an award-winning documentary filmmaker, he's traveled the world and seen firsthand what happens to societies due to failed democratic policies and when government officials forsake their own people. After more than a decade of community engagement and programming through his social documentary film work, he has decided to take a stand by running for Congress in California's 37th district. Please welcome Errol Webber.
you doing? I said patriots, how you doing? We have a lot of military members around here that I can point out right here. Thank you so much for your work that you've done. Thank you, Greg Raths, for the work that you do, and all of those who have fought in the past and right now fighting to preserve our rights to be free right here in America. Thank you so much for all of your work and your dedication. Can we get a shout out for all of our members of military? Kind of the reason I wore this tribute outfit. Folks, my name is Errol Webber. I'm the very proud Republican for Congress in California's 37th Congressional District. For those who don't know where that district is, it's right up in LA, right next to Maxine's district, right next to Ted Lieu's district, right next to Adam Schiff's district. I'm running against communist Karen Bass. Now, we heard from Amy Phan West the terribleness that happens with communism. And in Jamaica, where I grew up, we saw socialism in the late 60s into the 70s. And I'm glad we snapped out of it. We across the world, we all come here to America to experience freedom. And we should not take this freedom for granted. We need to make sure that every day we are fighting to uphold our Constitution and not allow the left to go trampling on our constitutionally protected rights. Our right and freedom to free speech is important. Free press is important. Being able to go to church freely and not have churches shut down, that is something we need to continue to protect. Additionally, we need to make sure that we are pushing to preserve our Second Amendment right, because that is how we push back against a tyrannical government. That is how we push back against leftist nonsense coming out of California. How many people are ready for Thanksgiving? How many people are ready for Christmas? And how many people are not going to listen to Gavin Newsom's order? I thought. So folks, I think we're all on the same page here. We have to protect our rights, and we have to make sure that these Democrats do not hold on to the House, do not ever get anywhere near the Senate, and will never, ever, at any point in our lifetime, ever again be president. We need all Republicans as president for the rest of our lives, because you see the damage that Democrats are capable of, and will continue to do if we give them an inch. They will take a mile. So it is incumbent upon all of us to work with our candidates, get out the vote. And I want to share a little detail, because some people are like, ooh, Trump is going to win a landslide. Some people are still biting their nails. Some people, they don't know what's going to happen. But you have to remember, 15 states signed legislation that said that they will hand over their electoral college votes to the international population. So even if we live up right here, this is still important for you to go out your way. Every single God-fearing Christian, every single Republican, every single Trump supporter, get out their box and get out the vote. Get some of this out.
Still one if Hollywood will have it, but whatever. We have better opportunities. I'm now recently, well, within 6 years, I'm a godfather. That was means the world to me. Thank you. I'm a best friend. I'm a first generation son of an immigrant who did it the right way. I'm also an alcoholic who struggled with everything, every decision in his life until 4 years ago when I found God. And with that I can say, I'm also a God-fearing Christian. But more importantly, I'm an American. And once you become an American and you know that, you have that in your heart, you become a part of this country's history. Everything, every bad, but every great. Slavery, but going to the moon, right? We have Jim Crow laws, but then we beat the Russians in the Olympics to give us hope. Jesse Owens went there and showed Max Mellon and Adolf Hitler what America was about, and we got together. We fought 2 big wars to stop tyranny. We kicked down a wall that was separating the East from the West. That's what we do here as Americans, and it doesn't matter if you just got here today and you become a citizen, or you're born, or your family's been here for decades and hundreds of years. No other country on this planet gives you the right to be a part of its history as soon as you say you pledge allegiance to that flag. They're out there wanting to keep us separate, but look around you. Please look around you. Whether it's me standing here, whether it's a guy who's looking like a pharaoh right there, whether it's a lady back here, it's black, white, old, young, Asian, every background that you can think about is here, because this is America. This is what they're trying to stop us from seeing. They keep lying. They keep telling this false lie that we're all against each other, but we're not. What they don't want to see is that we are against them. We're against the media's lies. We are against these politicians who for decades have terrorized the black community, and now they're spreading it out to other communities so that men are in the homes to be fathers, to be there so they can help their sons understand how to be a man in this world. So that they're not there to be a good representation to their daughters of what type of man they should have. Masculinity isn't toxic. Masculinity created this country. Masculinity saves lives. Masculinity runs towards the fire, not run away from it. That's what we are as Americans. You never, ever let them tell you otherwise. And no more, because I'm done. I am tired. Major said it earlier. Frustrated is not even close to the word that I feel inside. They will never. They had me quiet for too long. I had, like you brought up about being in Hollywood, I had to sit there and watch a lot of disgusting things that I couldn't even speak about, because then I'm somehow wrong. I'm wrong because I don't like to see little girls sexualized. I'm wrong because I don't want to see sexualization of any type to that level on regular TV. I'm wrong for that. I'm wrong because it's nice to see a husband and a wife show love. It's also great to see a good father in these shows. I'm wrong because of that? No, this is the backbone not only just of the United States, but it's human history. We have to be together in order to thrive. And you see them every step of the way, from religion to family to how you even raise your kids. They want to infest. They have infested. We need to take this back. It doesn't end on the 3rd. It keeps going. We're here in California. We know we have work to do. And remember this. There is no kneeling for anyone outside of God. This country is for all of us. Never let them take it away from you. This is our right, this is our passion, and this is our love. Thank you. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.